Hello, everybody. I am Russell Tomlinson, and along with my very able and capable co host, Stephanie Tomlinson, we
Hey
welcome
everyone.
you to Relationship Revolution. And we are excited about what we're going to talk about today. So, at least, Stephanie, go ahead and give them the title or the theme, and then we'll deal with like, share, and follow. Okay.
Okay, so the title today it's actually it's kind of like the part two of last week's, which was what does a woman want versus what does a man want. But we're focusing more on the men this week because last week we focused a lot on the women. So we are focusing on the title Five Qualities of a Good Man.
I like that. Five qualities of a good man. So we're going to jump right into it. But first, it's going to be important for everybody to understand that in order to get this program out to a whole lot more people, we need you to take time, and it's no big deal. Just hit the like icon, share, follow, or subscribe at Russell Tomlin. And then, of course, there is YouTube, then there's Russell Tomlinson Global. So I'm excited about this subject because I get to speak to my fellow man, all of the men now that's interested in improving their relationships. And here's the other thing. I
Mhm.
want people to understand that it's going to be important to know what to look for. And there's a difference in what to look for and what to look out for. You know, we've been talking about red flags, and people are more focused on red flags, and they
Mhm.
don't understand that there's some green flags we ought to be looking for. And so
Yeah.
we're looking at these five qualities, which are really green flags for a woman to look for when it comes to the kind of man that she wants to be connected to, the kind of man that she wants to marry, the kind of man that she wants to have a strong relationship with. And there are more than five qualities, but these five are the outstanding qualities that we're
Mhm.
going to need to really highlight so that rather than just looking for red flags and looking
Mhm.
for trouble, because when you look for trouble, you'll find it. But
Oh, totally.
if you look for success, you'll find that also. So we're going to get started with these five qualities of a good man.
I love it. We're looking forward to your perspective. This You are the master of this, and we us women, we're here to learn. I'm here to learn. So let's get
Hey, well,
started.
yeah, these things will help. So
Mhm.
let's take some quality time and look into this, because the first thing that I believe a woman
Mhm.
ought to look for as far as her relationship with an intimate relationship with the man, you want a spouse, you want a husband. Okay, the first thing you want to look for is a man with a servant's attitude. You
Mhm.
see, it's
Mhm.
all about your quality of service. And if your service is good, your game is going to be sharp.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
that's sort of a tennis analogy. You know, I played tennis for a number of years and haven't been out
Mhm.
on the court for a while. But if you've got a great service attitude, you know
Mhm.
how to serve properly, then
Mhm.
you are a quality man, and you qualify for a quality relationship. So you have to have the attitude of a servant.
What
Now,
does that look like?
well, it looks like somebody that's willing to uh, go out of their way
Mhm.
to make sure that their spouse is satisfied. That's what servants
Mhm.
do. If I
Mhm.
go to a restaurant and I'm getting good service, it's going to make me a satisfied customer.
Mhm.
So it's important for a man to go into a marriage or a relationship with the attitude of a servant. And
Mhm.
watch this, not to be served. Jesus gives us a
Mhm.
powerful principle. Here's what he said. He says, I have not come to be served, but I've come to serve. So, in his relationship with the church, we talk about serving the Lord, but a lot of people don't understand that the Lord first served us. So if you're going to have a successful relationship, as far as what kind of man am I looking for? Look for a man that will serve you. Now, I want to take it a little bit further, and
Okay.
because this is what the man will be looking for in the woman.
Oh yeah.
He's
Tell me.
he, he's going to be looking for a woman that will submit to his service.
Mm,
So he's going to be looking for a woman. This woman will submit to his service. So you got a problem if you have a man with a servant attitude,
hmm
but then you've got to be careful that you got a woman that is so suspicious
hmm
of men based on their past negative experience,
hmm
that there's some women that simply don't know how to receive service. Because
Yeah.
here's the question: what does he want from me? What is he trying to get from me? Why is he serving me this way? Apparently, he
hmm
wants something.
hmm
And it just very well may be that if he is indeed a good man,
hmm
all he wants from you is to submit to the service that he's offering you.
So a good man does not need to serve, does not have to serve. They want to serve.
Yeah, it's actually a part of their makeup. It's a part of
Mhm.
their constitution. It's even a part of their nature. You
Yeah.
know, uh, a lazy man will never be a servant.
hmm
A lazy man doesn't serve, he wants to be served. But
Yeah.
in order to have a strong relationship, you've got to be able to be a man with a servant's attitude. And of course, we get it from scripture. That was Jesus's attitude. The entire time that he did his ministry on earth, he was serving people.
Yeah.
He was healing, he was raising the dead,
hmm
he was feeding, he was working miracles. He came to serve.
Yep.
Well, he is the model, and he is our example
hmm
of what we need to be in our relationship towards our spouse, towards our wife. So I have to have a servant's attitude if
hmm
I'm going to have a successful relationship. And all I need is a spouse that will submit to my service.
I love it. So a good man is a servant, and what he needs in his spouse is to be able to submit to his service. I love it.
Yeah,
That's
that's what the
good.
ladies need. That's what the ladies need to look out for. That's what
That's
they,
what we want.
yeah, and if you're always looking for the negative, you
hmm
know, red flags, you'll never see
Yeah.
what's really valuable in that person.
hmm
And so, of course, you have to be a person that won't settle for anybody. If you're
Yeah.
looking for a servant man, well, you can pray that man into your life.
Yeah. And
And
it's
just
easy to submit to someone who wants to be of service to you. I
that's
mean,
right.
what's so difficult about submitting to that? It's easy. You want to.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
Mhm.
right. And so, if you submit to that kind of service in your life, you'll never settle for anything that's less.
Yeah. That's
So
incredible.
that's the first quality.
First,
Uh,
that's a good one.
yeah, having the attitude of a servant towards your spouse, and that's not easy, because a lot of times
hmm
in serving, you've got to go out of your way. You've got to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
hmm
And serving is, well, I'll get to another point, but serving is really making sacrifices.
And it happens with intention, it happens with purpose, it happens with assignment. So you're not just serving because you want to serve, but you understand that there's an intention behind it. There's a purpose behind it. You know why you're doing it. You know what it's leading you to. You understand the outcome, and the goal behind of serving your spouse, your wife
Yeah,
in this
and
case.
Yeah, and here's the another spiritual law. Whatever you
Hmm.
sow, that you're going to reap.
There you go.
So if you sow service, service from your spouse will be multiplied back to you.
Hmm.
So it's important that we understand these principles and these laws that enhance and that strengthen our relationships.
That's good. We're gonna all
Specifically,
put that on our what we're looking for list.
yeah, specifically marriage, specifically
Hmm.
marriage. So that's the first quality right there.
Okay. Now I do have a question, and I have this question for all of the women out there who are already married, and maybe they don't feel like their husbands are servants right now. Is this something that could shift, could change in a marriage if the man right now doesn't have the service attitude? How does that work?
Well, what has to shift is the concept of marriage
Hmm.
and the mindset of marriage. People come into marriage with different concepts. In other words, uh, I said it last time, we are relational and we want to relate based on passion,
Hmm.
but we don't always understand that you must be able to relate based on purpose. So you can be so passionate that you can overlook this fact that in order for a guy to be successful in his marriage relationship,
Hmm.
he's got to have purpose. Service is always about purpose. So when you're talking about serving, you're talking about purpose.
Yeah.
You're walking out your purpose, not the fullness of the purpose, but the beginning stages of purpose begins with the man understanding that he has to have an attitude of a servant towards his
Hmm.
wife. So that he has to understand purpose, and then the mindset. What's his, not only his concept, but he may have a totally different kind of mindset. So the mindset has to change,
Hmm.
and mindsets change when you are open to insights that you may not have had before. So you've
Yeah.
got to have a mindset. So if you're in a marriage,
Hmm.
your spouse, your husband does not have a servant's attitude,
Hmm.
then you have a concept issue and a mindset issue.
Hmm. And obviously, we would work on that by.
Well, you work on it by investing into your marriage, by getting coached, getting
Yeah.
counseled. If you want to improve,
Yep.
there are players that play football. They've got great talent. But the issue is you need a coach that
Hmm.
brings those things out.
Yeah.
And so I like the word coaching, to tell you the truth, better than counseling, because there's such a
Mhm.
negative connotation when it comes to counseling. But coaching is important. And that's why we always offer difference factor solutions coaching program to married couples so that they
Yeah.
can understand how to enhance this thing and make their marriage deeper as a
Yeah.
result of understanding how to navigate their differences.
Yeah, and that is not too late. A lot of times, when we talk about these things and the possibilities of it, and someone is already married, they feel like, oh, what? I don't have that. I didn't choose that person. But it's not too late. It's something that you can always it can always be developed within your relationship. And I think it's important, for people who are already married and who have already chosen their spouse to understand that it's never too late.
Yeah. And if a woman wants to see that change, then sometimes she needs to be the example,
Yeah,
serve
totally.
your husband,
Hmm.
show your husband what service looks like.
Yeah,
And the same
model.
goes for the woman. You'll reap what you sow.
Yeah, I agree. I love that point. Okay, for
Yeah.
the sake of time, let's go to point number two. What is that?
Well, the second quality of a good man, this is what, ladies, this is what you should look for if you're looking for a
Hmm.
good man, is a man of structure. Structure.
Hmm. Hmm.
What does that mean? A man of structure is a man who has a vision and a man who has a plan. They don't
Hmm.
just go into a relationship hoping for the best. They have a vision for the relationship. They
Yeah.
have a plan for the relationship. They have a strategy for the relationship. That's what a man of structure will do.
Yeah.
He's a man of order, you know? He doesn't he can't he doesn't he's not comfortable in chaos. And some people are. Some
Hmm.
people have actually made chaos a lifestyle. But when you are a man that understands structure, then you're also a man of vision. And of
Hmm.
course, you have a plan, and then you are a man of strategy. Now, these things ought to be considered in the dating process
Yeah.
if you're not married as of yet. But then again, it's possible to build this kind of relationship even if you're married and you haven't had this kind of relationship before. So, being a man of structure is really, really important.
Yeah. You know what I recognize? I recognize that most men, if not all men, go into a relationship with an intention. Now, those intentions may not always be a good intentions, but there's
Yeah,
always an agenda. There's always an intention. I think the key for the good man is to find out if their intention or agenda is, like you said, I have a strategy. What does that strategy look like? What does that vision look like? What does
yeah.
that
Well,
plan look like?
yeah, that needs to be taken care of in the dating process. In
Yeah.
the what was it that one of our guests said? Oh, Cynthia Thompson,
Hmm.
Pastor Cynthia Thompson. Dating is for picking up data,
Hmm.
you know,
I
which
never
is
looked
a
at it like that, you know.
yeah, it's for picking up data. But
Hmm.
once again, if you're a person where you're just looking at passion in the
Yeah.
relationship, and you're not looking at purpose, then you ignore the fact that the dating time is the time to pick up data.
Yeah.
So, a man of structure, a man of vision, a man that'll sit down and say to his potential spouse, this is what I want to see in our relationship. This is the
Hmm.
vision. I see myself doing this, see you doing that. I see us doing all the other things together. So it
Hmm.
takes two, and vision is actually the glue that begins to hold the relationship together.
Yeah.
Of course.
It says a lot because if a man is expressing his vision, for you, his plan for your life, and your vision and your plan, it just is completely opposite, and that's not anything that you saw for your life. These are these times to make some very critical decisions in our relationships.
Yeah, and look, if you're not going to go in it with vision, you're going to eventually run into division.
Yeah.
It's going to be a divide because
Yeah.
what vision does, it brings a man of structure who
Hmm.
has vision and a plan and a strategy. It keeps both parties on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%. And you
yeah,
get to decide. It gives you an opportunity to make a decision about your own life. Okay, I see where he's going. I see what he's envisioned. I see what he plans. Do I want that? And you get to decide. Is that where
that's
I'm
right.
headed? Is that where I'm going? And vice versa. It works both ways, but that part should definitely be understood. So, what does a good man want? This type of good man, the man with structure, what is he looking for from his spouse, his wife?
Well, once a man puts his visual structure out there, his plan, his strategy, all he wants from her is support.
Mm,
He's
yeah.
giving he's giving her something uh to get with, to get under. You know,
Mhm.
I want you to support this plan, this vision.
Mhm.
And so once stick with this plan, and we'll
Mhm.
go places. I
Now
heard a
let's
testimony.
mhm.
No, I heard this testimony of this guy said to his wife, "If you stick with me with this
Mhm.
plan, I'm headed towards treating you like a queen." And
Mm.
she stuck. It was rough. It was tough, but she
Mm.
stuck with the plan, and to this day, she's being treated like a queen.
And I want to clarify that that support, because a lot of times when we hear that word, it could come off as you leave everything that you have going on behind and you just support me. So what does that actually look like in a healthy relationship with the good man? What does that support look like?
Well, the support part is, first of all, two people agreeing
Hmm.
on the same vision, agreeing on the structure, agreeing on the plan. Now, once both parties come into an agreement of what that looks like and how that works, then that means that you don't have to just say, "Well, I'm supporting you, but you're not supporting me." That's
Hmm.
why it needs to be discussed. It needs to be talked out. You need to sit down and have the conversation on how does this work? What does this look like
Hmm.
when it comes to the plan and the vision? How do I fit into that vision? Is it all about you? How am I included? Yeah,
Hmm.
I want to support it, but I need some insight, some information.
Hmm.
I need you to open my eyes to how this function and how this works. And
Yeah.
then you won't have to be concerned about whether or not it fits where you're going. Also,
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. So if we ask the question, let's say while we're dating, and we ask the question, hey, what is your vision? What's your plan? And he goes blank, run.
yeah. Well, you know what? You don't even need a red flag. If
Yeah.
you if you look for the green flags and
Hmm.
nobody's coming up with green flags,
Hmm.
you got a problem. You don't need to look for a red flag.
Exactly. There you go.
Ask, look for the qualities,
Hmm.
not for those things that disqualify a person, but look for the qualities that the man has. And you got to have a set of qualities. And that's what we're actually talking about right now: a servant's attitude, then a man of structure. You know, one of the things that uh, when Cindy would come down, I lived in Florida, she lived in, I had the condo.
Hmm.
Um, she came into my environment and she saw structure.
Hmm.
She could tell by the way that I kept my surroundings that I was a person of structure. I had order.
Hmm.
She could look in my closet and see that there was order.
Yeah.
My shirts, my suits, my everything was
It's
just in
telling.
order.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
tells a
telling.
story. She didn't see underwear all over the floor and
Hmm.
dirty clothes piled
A
up.
car full of Coke bottles and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those kinds of things. So,
yeah.
so she understood early on that I was a person of structure. And the same token, I understood early on that she was a woman of order.
Mm.
So, yeah, structure is important because it opens up the opportunity to express vision, plans, and strategies
And the man, the good man with structure, wants a woman who will agree and support him in
and
this
support.
process.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now,
Love
here's the
it.
structure that I've given, and I'm
Hmm.
actually taking the lead.
Hmm.
And you need to agree, or
Or
maybe it's not what you want. Disagree. I don't want that kind of structure.
right.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard women say to a pastor, they marry a pastor, and then they discover, I don't want to be a pastor's wife. You know, I don't know what their concept was, what their motto was, what their
Hmm.
idea was, but down the road, they just decided, I no longer want to do this church thing.
Hmm.
Don't want to be, I don't want to be no first lady. And there's a separation. So
Yeah,
things need to be, the vision, the plan, the strategy need to be shared.
totally. And if it's you're already married and this stuff was never shared, well, that's what the coaching is for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's
Coach.
go to number 3. What is that?
Number 3, look for a man that's secure. First of all, in a man of security,
Yeah.
and then a man that is secure with his wife being successful.
Mm.
There's nothing worse in a relationship than an insecure man.
There is nothing worse.
Yeah. An insecure person is intimidated. They're suspicious. They're
Critical.
jealous. They're critical. Yeah, because they're not secure.
Yep.
So once you understand that a man is secure in who he is, then he is secure in who his wife really is.
Yeah.
And that's
Now,
important.
give us a little bit of points of what security looks like in a man. Like, what does that look like? Because we can point out all the what insecurity looks like. We know, that's obvious. But what
Yeah.
does security look like?
Security in a man does not put a lid on the success
Mm-hmm.
of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, go ahead and be as successful as you want to be. I am
Yeah.
secure with your success.
Mm-hmm.
I'm secure with who you are,
Mm-hmm.
apart from who I am.
Yeah. And although I want your support, I'm also willing to support, you in your endeavors as well.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because success means success for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you're insecure, you'll see, well, she's successful and I'm not as successful as she is. No, if she's successful, you're successful.
And vice versa. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to be secure in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm secure, look, I'm satisfied with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm secure with me. I happen to have confidence in me.
Yeah.
And that confidence can never be broken if my wife is advancing, if she's outgoing. And actually, I have that kind of wife. She's a very intelligent, one of the brightest women on the planet.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me when she is succeeding, when she's successful, because I'm allowing her to express who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no lid on how far she can go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. You don't see it often. I don't know why. Maybe you can answer that question. But what does it take? I know identity plays a large role in security, but what reasons do you have to be so confident about your stance to be able to give a woman with so much power all the success that she's going after?
Well, look, if you're not secure at 66 years old,
There's
I mean,
plenty who are not.
yeah, but here's the secret to security.
Mm-hmm.
You first of all have to be secure in your self identity. How do I identify? Who do I identify as?
Yeah.
Um, that's a very popular thing nowadays. I identify as this. I identify as that.
Yeah.
You learned security through the way you identify yourself. So if you identify yourself as somebody if you identify as a failure, you carry that. If you identify as somebody that's not capable, if you identify as somebody that's insecure, if you identify, my identity comes from the one that I serve, the one that I worship, the one that I adore.
Mm-hmm.
As he is, so am I.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask myself this question: is Jesus insecure?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he's not insecure, why should I be? If if I really have faith in him.
Yeah. And I think that's where you hit the nail on the head, because a good man, has that identity in his creator, in
Well,
God.
yeah, let me also put this in. A
Hmm.
good man is always subject or submissive to somebody
Hmm.
over him. A good man
Accountability.
is accountable.
Mm,
So, and the scripture says it like this, God is the head of man, man is the head of woman. And this is talking about marriage.
yeah.
This is not talking about in society overall. You
Hmm.
can't, I'm not the head of no other woman but my wife. You can't just generally be the head over women. No, he's in the relationship,
Hmm.
in the aspect of the marriage relationship. I'm the head. I'm not the head over all women.
Hmm.
Whoever a woman is married to, that's who she's the head of. But the man, you can't put a demand on a woman to submit when you yourself you're not submitted.
There you go.
So I've got to be submitted to God. That's where my identity comes from. That's where my security comes from.
Hmm.
So if I'm submitted to God, then my spouse is gladly submitted to me.
Yeah. This is what we're looking for. This is what we're all looking looking for. Okay. So what does a good man want? What does a man who is secure? What kind of woman is he looking for?
He wants a woman that is not afraid of his success or her success.
Mm,
No barriers.
hmm.
So if
So
if if I'm
security is
secure,
looking for security.
that's right. Both people are secure.
Hmm.
If I'm secure in who I am, I'm not going to attract an insecure person.
Yeah.
My wife is not going to attract an insecure man.
Hmm.
Yeah. And now sometimes I've seen this too. People will say, well, they marry somebody and then the insecurities don't show up until there is this competition
Yeah.
between them as far as, who's doing the most of what.
Yeah. Or growth takes place is usually when you see it. As long as we're on the same level, we're fine. And then someone starts sprouting a little bit, and then it comes out sometimes.
Well, I'm not competitive in that
Hmm.
area. I don't have to compete with my wife. I want to
Hmm.
compliment. And my security complements who she is.
Yeah. I think it's not understanding that a marriage is you're one now. So you're still operating in a single state when you feel like you have to compete with your own spouse.
Yeah, Dr. Cindy was a politician. She helps with government. She does all of that. I've never been a politician. I've never been involved and active in uh, government structure and helping to run a country. I've never done that. I mean,
Mhm.
so what am I to be insecure about? She was doing
Not
that
at
well
all.
before I met her in her single
Mhm.
state. So I welcome her. If she wants to be president or premier, prime minister, go for it. I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
good. All I've
Yeah.
got to know is what's my purpose. Am I walking in my purpose? As long as I'm in my purpose, I'm secure in who I am.
Yep. 100%. I agree. I agree. And, mindsets have to shift once you get married. You are one, you become united. There is no longer,
Well,
well, I have to
yeah,
compete with
those
my
are the
spouse.
things. Yeah, but those are the things that have to happen, especially in the counseling, in the uh, in the counseling stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
those things, those things have to happen. So uh, we can go to the next one.
Yeah. What's number 4?
Number 4, and we'll go through this one rather quickly because we're just about out of time. But
Hmm.
number 4, well, look, ladies, you want to look for a man with a sound mind. In the dating process,
Yeah.
you want to check out his thinking.
Hmm.
And all you need to do is ask, what do you think about this? What do you think about
Hmm.
that? What do you think about family? What do you think about faith? What do you think?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, sadly, there are a lot of people that will never find out
Mm.
how disturbed a person's thinking is until they've actually married them.
100%.
And then it's like, well, man, I didn't, I thought, because that's when they find out their mind is not sound.
Hmm.
And a lot of
Yeah.
times it's all about the passion and not the purpose.
Yep. Another word for sound mind is emotionally intelligent. You want someone who is wise. You want someone who can make decisions. Not only do you ask these questions, but you kind of observe it in their behaviors, in their actions, because a lot of times it comes out when conflict happens or when disagreement happens. You see the response, so pay attention to the response, because
Yeah.
those are giving you signs of if this person is a sound or has a sound mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned emotional intelligence. All that is mature thinking.
That's it.
You think to such a degree of maturity whereby you don't allow your emotions to rule you.
Yep.
And they're just they're guys that are not emotionally intelligent. They're not mature as far as their emotions are concerned. And when you're not mature in that area,
Hmm.
you're involved in a very volatile relationship because emotions will make everything unstable.
Yeah.
So that's why that has to happen. You have to
Yep.
have that kind of soundness of mind,
Hmm.
a mature thinking individual.
Yeah, that is good. And stability, that is huge. A person with a sound mind should be able to communicate. You're not experiencing the roller coaster of emotions, and the high highs and the low lows. They should be able to effectively communicate.
The poorest form of communication, and this is for somebody out there, you want to hear this. The
Hmm.
poorest form of communication is cursing.
Mm, that is
And you
so
can
good.
tell you can tell
Hmm.
that a person uh, is not emotionally equipped to
Hmm.
communicate when they have to start cursing somebody out.
Wow.
And that's why what is happening at that point is that there is no emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
If I'm emotional intelligent, I don't have to curse.
Hmm.
If that's who I am. If I'm not emotionally intelligent, then every 3 words that comes out of my mouth is going to be a curse word. And so when I hear, uh, you know, it's just so much out there right now. I don't want to name anybody, but they've got
Hmm.
people on the internet, and everybody think cursing, is cool, and sometimes it's funny and it's humorous. No, what you're dealing with is a person that is unintelligent in their emotions when they have to resort to try to explain themselves or communicate through cursing.
Yeah.
It's just unintelligent. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so in a man the good man who has a sound mind, what type of woman is this man looking for?
Oh, he's looking for a woman that can be emotional without displaying those emotions in a way that's detrimental to the
Mhm.
relationship.
Yeah, that is good.
That's
So
what
we're
we're
not
looking for. Okay.
excusing really emotions are okay. They're good. You can
Yeah,
have
it's
the
nothing.
emotions.
We're human. We're human. We're going to have
Mhm.
emotions.
Mhm.
But when your emotions become a detriment
Mhm.
to the relationship, Now, I need somebody that, yeah, you've got emotions, you've got feelings. We all have emotions, we all have feelings. But
Mhm.
when those emotions become detrimental, we got a problem. And
Yeah.
so I'm looking for somebody that, if, both of us need to be able
Mhm.
to operate in emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Enough said.
Okay, great, great. Let's do the last one. The last one here is, ladies, look for a man who will sacrifice his
Mm,
life for you.
mm,
That's what Jesus did for us. He sacrificed his life. And then, of course, you go to scripture, you'll see where it says, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Well, what did Christ do for the church? He sacrificed himself for the church.
yeah.
And, and I'll just go ahead and tell you what a man is looking for. That is a man that will sacrifice for his wife.
Okay.
He's looking for he's looking for a wife that would appreciate his sacrifice,
Mhm.
recognize and appreciate that sacrifice,
Mm,
basically.
yeah. Which is, yeah. I do have one question. So my question is sacrifice. We talk about, a man who will lay down his life. What does that look like in the everyday sense?
Well, sacrifice means that I would give up my life
Mhm.
for her survival
Mm,
or her protection.
mm,
And that comes in different forms.
yeah.
In actual fact, when a man goes to work every day, he's actually sacrificing for his spouse.
Mm,
Uh, a man is a protector.
mhm,
You're not going to let somebody abuse your wife
mhm.
or your family. You're going to protect them, and whatever that looks like. you
Yeah.
know he governs, he guards, he guides. Those are things that's sacrificial on his part.
Yeah. So what he's looking for from his spouse is to not just appreciate it, but well, you have to recognize it in order to
Yeah,
appreciate it.
recognize my sacrifice.
Mhm,
Sometimes just getting up, being consistent.
mhm,
Recognize that he's
mhm,
consistent. He consistently works. He's consistent in his affection
mhm,
towards you. He's consistent in his care. He's a guy that is consistent as
mhm.
far as taking care of his spouse, his family. And when you recognize and appreciate that and celebrate that, that's
Mhm.
powerful all by itself, Toria.
Yeah, that is good. That is good. This
Yeah,
is my list. I just created a
yeah,
new list.
yeah. It's a great list. It's a great list, and this is what we want the ladies to look out for. This is what
Mhm,
we want the potential wives to look out for. And while you're looking out for these things, you want to be preparing yourselves to be a lady that will basically submit, somebody that'll submit to his service, stick with the structure or the vision or the plan. Uh, Go ahead and help him to succeed in what he has presented as his vision. Uh, Emotional intelligence, appreciation, because men want to be respected
yeah.
and they want to be honored.
Mhm,
So if a man is making sacrifice, respect that and honor that.
mhm.
Everybody is going to be good. Hey, we've got to stop right there. We have gone a little bit over time, but that's okay. I
It was
know it
worth
was
it.
worth it. Yeah. Hey, look, we are just finishing our first season. So we've completed our first season. And what we're going to do, and Stephanie, I want to let all of the audience know this. What we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to put together some brand new, fresh material for all of you that's listening and watching Relationship Revolution. So we're going to take a break from this. But what we're going to do, we're going to replay some of our best presentations, our best programs, We're going to replay those while we're taking a break and improving and restructuring. Everything is going to be better when we come back on. So we're going to take like a good month to sit down, Stephanie and I and people behind the scenes. They're going to help us to make this better for you. So we want you to look for a better program. So we've completed season 1. We're going into season 2, and we need to sit down and meet. We need to strategize. We need to restructure. We need to find out how can we make this better for all of our listeners. We need to improve our content. It's all about improving. So your season 2 will be back. You see it right there on the screen in the month of January. But in the meantime, we're going to keep you posted. We're going to put out some shorts, videos and things like that so that you can be abreast of everything that's coming your way. So it's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's going to be more powerful. It's going to be improved. It's going to have a better quality. Everything is going to be enhanced. So we want you to be aware of that. By the way, hey, Stephanie, what is the dates for In Your Year Strong? Because we're going to be there. And of course, that is one of the most powerful conferences that my wife is going to be hosting.
That is December 16th and the 17th, I believe.
December 16th, 17th.
And 17th.
Well, you can go to Cindy Trim Ministries or cindytrim.com or whatever. You'll check all of that out. But we're going to be there celebrating that. And, it's already out. It's going to be powerful. So there's a lot going on right now behind the scenes. So look forward to season 2. Also, we're putting together something whereby we can have our, not only Relationship Revolution Television, but our personal development word study. All of these things are going to improve. Everything is going to be enhanced. It's going to be a greater presentation, if you will. So that's the best. That's the best way I can put it right now. That's all I can tell you right now. But we will be back for the new year. But we've got to be working on some fresh content, some new content, something that's going to better your life and better your relationships. That's why you want to be with us. Hey, and don't forget. Let's do this. Every one of you. I know that this last show for this season was quite powerful. Ladies, you know what to look for. Men, you know what to look for. So we want you to take time to at least demonstrate your appreciation through your giving, helping us to reach more people and to keep this content relevant and to keep this content fresh. Yeah, don't be afraid. Hey, but look, you're going to go back and hear some things that you may have heard at a program earlier, but you're going to be more appreciative because you're going to hear that we've got so much content that it's going to be hard to exhaust it. In other words, you'll always hear something that you didn't hear before, even when you go back. And we want you just to help us to keep this content fresh and new. There are all of the ways right there that you can support this program, Relationship Revolution. So make it your business to sow, to give, to support into this kind of programming. Listen, relationships need to hear these things more than ever before. So guys, there's information there. Feel free to give. I want to give you this opportunity because when you give, you're making things happen. That's good for people beyond your circle of influence. You're reaching out to a whole lot more people just by your giving. And I always say it, and you know it. What you make happen for others, look out, God is going to make happen for you. So Stephanie, we're going to see everybody next season. We'll be back and we'll have greater content. We're going to be sharper. It's going to be more insight, more wisdom, more revelation that we can share concerning Relationship Revolution. We're going to revolutionize your relationship. See you next time.